In the heart of New Orleans, inside a tiny French Quarter apartment, police found a chilling message scratched onto a mirror, a confession leading to a scene so horrifying, seasoned detectives had to step outside to catch their breath. A story of love, loss, and a soldier's battle with invisible demons that no one ever saw coming. It was October 17th, 2006. New Orleans was still healing after the devastating blow of Hurricane Katrina. Streets were lively again, music filled the air, and tourists were returning. But just a few blocks off Bourbon Street, inside a crumbling apartment above a small voodoo shop, darkness was waiting. Zach Bowen was well known around town. At 28 years old, he was tall, charming, with a boyish smile that made strangers instantly like him. He worked as a bartender, pouring drinks and telling jokes to whoever would listen. And Addie Hall? She was a free spirit, a poet, a dancer, a woman who loved cats and hated authority. During Katrina, while others fled the city, Zach and Addie stayed behind, making a life in the abandoned streets. They were survivors, or at least they tried to be. On that October night, Zach walked into the Omni Royale Hotel. He looked empty, calm, even. He ordered a drink at the rooftop bar, left a few dollars for the bartender, and then, without a word, he jumped off the rooftop to his death. When police found his body on the street below, they thought it was a tragic suicide, another soul lost to the pressures of post-Katrina life. But then, they found something in Zach's pocket, a plastic bag with a note inside. The note was a map, leading police to the apartment he shared with Addie. The door was unlocked. Inside, the air was thick and heavy. Officers immediately knew something was wrong. On the stove, there was a large pot. Something was inside, cooking. The smell was unbearable. In the fridge, they found Addie's severed head, neatly placed inside a pot. Her arms and legs were wrapped separately in plastic bags. On the walls, Zach had used spray paint to write chilling messages, admitting to the murder, giving rough details of what he had done, and even writing that he didn't have the courage to finish himself before finally taking his life. How did two young people who seemed so in love, who survived one of the worst natural disasters in American history, Zach wasn't just a bartender. Before Katrina, he had served in the military. 2 tours in Iraq had left him deeply scarred. Friends said he came back a different man, hollow, lost, full of anger he couldn't explain. He struggled with PTSD, but like many veterans, he tried to tough it out. No therapy, no real help. Addie, too, carried her own demons. She struggled with bipolar disorder, battling intense mood swings, feelings of abandonment, and episodes of deep depression. When she was happy, she lit up the room. But when the darkness came, it was overwhelming. Together, Zach and Addie found comfort in each other's brokenness. But over time, their love turned volatile. They drank heavily, fought often, and the relationship became a ticking time bomb. Investigators combed through the apartment. They found Addie's journal, revealing months of escalating abuse and fear. In the last entry, she wrote about wanting Zach to move out. She had just signed a new lease in her name only. This move, police believed, pushed Zach over the edge. There were no signs of forced entry, no struggle. Based on Zach's confession, he strangled Addie during an argument and then lived with her body for several days before dismembering her. At first, officers considered if others were involved, maybe Zach didn't act alone. Maybe someone else helped him cover it up. But forensic evidence pointed to a lone killer. Zach had spiraled entirely alone into madness. Experts would later say that Zach's untreated PTSD, combined with alcoholism and severe depression, created the perfect storm. His military background taught him discipline and survival, but offered no tools for emotion. Addie's mental health struggles added fuel to the fire. Their fights were explosive. Their love, obsessive and toxic. In a way, they became each other's worst enemy, a mirror for all the pain they couldn't heal. Even the community, which had admired them during the post-Katrina days, felt betrayed. How had no one seen the signs? How had a love story, born out of survival, ended in such horror? The final twist? Zach had tried to seek help. Co-workers said he mentioned seeing things, hearing voices. Friends remembered him saying he felt like a ghost. In his suicide note, he apologized to friends and family, but blamed himself entirely. The apartment was never rented again. Today, it remains a ghost story in New Orleans, a place tourists point to with Zach Bowen and Addie Hall's story is more than just another crime tale. It's a brutal reminder of what happens when mental illness, trauma, and isolation are left to rot in the shadows. Two young lives, swallowed by a storm much darker than Katrina, the kind that brews quietly inside the human mind.